next station is Hoxton.
Hey folks, well I'm on the ground here in East London, and hopefully some of you have seen my East London jazz record walk before. If you haven't, check it out on the channel. Make sure to subscribe, give me a thumbs up if you're liking the content. So I'm in London for a couple weeks, and I've got 1 or 2 days where I can head out on the streets and check out some of my favorite stores. So I'm going to start off at Love Vinyl, which is in East London, near Hoxton. So I just jumped on and jumped off the overground, which is kind of the same as a tube, only above ground. I guess in Germany you call it the U-Bahn, the S-Bahn, as opposed to U-Bahn. Here it comes. There's the overground. Okay, so let's go check out and see what they've got there. Let's go digging. They usually have a good collection of jazz there. All right. Okay, so, I'm trying to get the store in the background there. There we go, that's better. So, always a great dig there here at Vinyl Delivery Service, or VDS. They had a couple Wynton Kellys that I looked at, but oddly, a little bit of noise on them, so I didn't pick that up. Anyway, so I'm going to say like 80% of the store there is jazz. I took a picture of the wall. There's about 3 or 4 people in there, so I didn't want to take a video. There's also wine store as well, which is kind of weird. So, while you're digging there, you hear people talking about like, oh, this Merlot, blah, 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 Pinot, blah, 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 Bordeaux, la, la, la. Anyway, but there's obviously a lot of, jazz record collectors in there too. So I didn't want to take a video. Nothing really interests me on the wall. Ended up getting a Horace Silver LP, Blue Note. I'll show that when I get home. Pretty good price. Not the best, but it was super clean. Really, really good shape. RVG stamped. So, those are hard to find these days, or relatively hard to find. So, as always, a great selection of Japanese LPs. They had a whole section of 3 Blind Mice LPs, which always sound great. The price of those are, even in Japan, the price of those are crazy expensive, but those are always fun to flip through. It was one of my favorite Japanese artists is Teramasu Hino. They had about 5 or 6 of his LPs, but they're all the kind of, after 78 kind of stuff, where it gets a bit, what do you call that, cool jazz or disco jazz. Anyway, there's another store up the road. Let me turn around. Here on the Flower Market Street. Let's go check it out. I can't remember the name of it. When we get there, I'll turn it back on and we can talk a little bit about it. Okay, here we are just across the street from World of Echo, which is a smaller store, nicely kind of, as we say, in the record collecting community, a curated store. Here, let me turn around so you can see it. Sorry. And what can I say about the store? I've been here maybe, half a dozen times. Sometimes they have some good punk that's helpful for my collection. But it tends to be, in terms of jazz, tends to be more, new releases, reissues, newer stuff. But every now and again, you get some. They obviously buy some collections and they put stuff up on the wall. So let's go check it out.
Did you come in for the jazz, or are you just...
Yeah, mostly for the jazz. But I like some funk too. Didn't have the best day out today, mostly because of the weather. It was just pouring like on and off, and it's been like that for a couple days. So a little bit of a tough day. So sorry I wasn't able to comment more when I was kind of out in the wild, so to speak. But let's kind of back up. So I'll show you a couple LPs that I bought. Again, not a hugely productive day, but still really interesting one. And I may even go back and see if I can find a couple other things in some of those stores. So first one, Love Vinyl. What can we say about Love Vinyl that I haven't already said? Anyway, so why don't I show you a couple photos that I took above and beyond what you've seen already. Just took some photos with my iPhone. There's the Jackie Biard's Freedom Together. Again, I think the fellow wanted almost £30 for this LP. It was in pretty good shape, but again, that's like a $25 LP. It's a stereo. I'm looking for a mono, so I passed that one up. Here's another great one that actually from Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, The Big Beat, which has been reissued quite a few times. This was a Black Bee RVG stamped stereo version. So what are we talking about here? Like 1973, something like that. But again, this is not usually a terribly expensive LP. So it was a little bit too pricey for me. So I gave that one a pass as well. There was also Chick Corea Tones for Jones Bones. I don't have this one in my collection as well. Been looking up for a copy of it. Again, a little bit too pricey for me. This was actually the most interesting LP that I saw there. It was up on the wall. So if you rewind, go back in time and watch the video as I panned, as I entered into that first record store, Love Vinyl. This was up on the wall. It's called Sleepwalker, The Voyage into the Sun. So it's a Japanese LP here. I'm just having a look here on my phone. I think it was from 1970, 71. It's only been issued 2 or 3 times, I think, and all of them have been in Japan. I think there's like a yellow vinyl copy as well, but they're all $20, $25 LPs. I should back up and say that what caught my eye, of course, is that Pharoah Sanders played on this LP, and so he's big in my house. So and I don't have this, haven't seen this before, so I pulled it down, listened to it, but unfortunately, again, it was just a little bit too out of my range price wise. What else have I got here? So we got the Masahito Sato, his 1981 LP, with, I think this is the name of his band that he played with around that time. They're called Medical Sugar Bank. I kind of like that. It's a great name for a band, huh? Really, it's a really of its time kind of sound. And I put it on the turntable. I listened to it. I think the fellow wanted £20 for it. And Oh my God, it just transported me back to 1981. It's really hard to explain because it's not contemporary jazz, right? It's really kind of and it's not, before I was talking about disco jazz, this is more of almost kind of like a television jazz or something. Anyway, it was really fun. And I listened to a couple tracks, but again, it was just a little bit overpriced. Maybe think about it. Maybe I'll go back and make the guy an offer. But and also here, let me just show you the inside sleeve was really fascinating. I've got both images here, both sides of the sleeve, and on top of it being really cool, look at those great pictures, right, of the band. And the flip side, of course, in Japanese. But it was kind of a cloth. I've never felt that before, like a soft cloth for an inner sleeve. So I almost wanted to get the album just for the inner sleeve. I'm gonna see what I'm doing. I'm like talking myself into going back and picking it up. Oh my God. Anyway, so those were kind of the left behind LPs. I'm gonna say. VDS, I talked a little bit about it before when I was out on the rainy streets of London. So I won't say too much more, but I did give it away earlier. Okay, let me pull it out of the sleeve. Here's here's a nice postcard that they had. Let me hold that a bit closer. And there's actually a Q code there. I don't know. I'm gonna hold that up. Why don't you guys take a picture of that Q code and tell me where it takes you. But anyway, they have a really good following. I feel like I'm like giving an ad or something here, starting a commercial. And VDS, they have a really good online store. So and honestly, I think their prices are always quite good. So they always pop up at the top of my want list in terms of good prices. Anyhow, so I talked to you a little bit about this earlier. Finger Pop, and this is a classic. Not all that hard to find, but it is a Black Bee stamped copy from 1973. I think there's also one from 1975, but I double checked. This one's a little bit earlier. And also, what's nice about the store there, Vinyl Delivery Service, which again also has a wine store inside of it, is that they have really good turntables in there. Love Vinyl does not have good turntables, unfortunately, but these guys really did. So when I put this on, it sounded really great. So that kind of sealed it for me. It was maybe a little bit more than I wanted to pay, but it just sounded so good. So I had to have it. Plus, of course, I hadn't really bought all that much. I hadn't bought anything. So anyway, highly recommend the store. One of my favorite. They also get a lot of stuff in there, fairly on a fairly routine basis. So I'm here for another 10 days. I'll stop in there one more time. Okay. What else? What else do I want to talk about? Oh, and I also want to talk about, popped into, the third store, whose name I always forget, the Echo store, and picked up this album, which I've been looking for quite a while. It's been out for a number of months. The Mesthetics with James Brandon Lewis, who has a trio as well. So I'm really excited to crack this open. I know a lot of people have shown this online already, but for whatever reason, this has been hard to find back in Canada. So I snapped it up. It was a really good deal. It was a good price from the World of Echo. Sorry, you guys. The World of Echo is the name of the record store. It was a very, very good price. So I picked that up. Again, it's still in it hasn't been opened. It's brand new. Okay, so World of Echo. What else can I tell you about that store? I said a couple things before I walked in, but it surprises me. I'm going to say when I first went in there about 5 years ago, I didn't really find a lot, and there was too much new stuff. But I'm finding that they just have a really interesting selection of albums there. They have a good new issue and also reissue bins there. So whoever is buying the LPs there has really good taste in music. So, and it really leans to more of the, I would say, the avant-garde, free jazz, and also, of course, the UK jazz scene. So if you're someone who's just coming into London and doesn't really know the jazz scene in London, doesn't really know a lot about the bands, that's a good place to go. They've got a few things up on the wall. And also they have a lot of books. So I picked up a book. Here, let me go get it. Hang on. Oh man, I can't. I should have had it next to me. Here we go. So yeah, as I was saying, a really great selection of small books, of zines, fanzines, music books. What else? Some interesting 45s, cassettes for local bands. So it's much more than just LPs in there. Some really cool T-shirts as well that I showed earlier. Anyhow, so this is an interesting series of books. This one is from this one's called New Wave Post-Punk Graphics from Masala Noir, and they had about, I don't know, 4 or 5 other. They had a metal images, and they're all kind of graphics. They're all about image graphics, ads, things like that. So they had a metal one, and I can't remember what the other 2 were about, but I wasn't very interested in them at all. But it's just, there's tons of old, that one's really cool there from the fall. A couple there from the fall. So kind of post-punk, leans towards the kind of the British scene. This is kind of pre-internet here, folks. Kind of art schoolish design. Anyhow, so that was another thing I picked up today, which I actually haven't, that's the first time I've cracked it open, apart from when I was in the store. So again, World of Echo, really a great store to stop on Columbia Road, which is also where the flower market is. Okay, now as you saw earlier, I went to one last store called YoYo Records. YoYo Records probably has the best selection of original jazz LPs, particularly Blue Note and the other major labels, I would say, of anywhere in London. But it's expensive. Anyway, I walked in, and the staff person there was super friendly, and she said they just got a pile of stuff in. So again, rewind back and have a look at the wall there. It's pretty impressive, but she was a little bit nervous, you know, and she kept on looking behind her and saying, yeah, we got all this really expensive stuff in, and it's kind of making me nervous. And I'm kind of like, okay, and she's sounding really nervous, and let me see if I can find a picture. Here it is. And it's the reason why is because she said, we just got the most expensive LP that we've ever put up here in this store. That just came in yesterday. It's of course the classic Blue Note 1530 Judah Hip with Zoot Sims. US original, £4,000. 4,000 quid. Yeah, that's some coin, isn't it? Anyhow, so that was curious. Yeah, everything there is priced for someone else and not me. So it's a great, again, it's a jazz museum. That's what I like to treat those stores like. They're museums. You go in, it's like, oh, look at that. Oh, look at that OG. Oh my God. It's so pretty. Can I touch it? No. Okay, time to leave. There we go. So that's YoYo Records. So the Columbia Road Flower Market. Great stories down there. Tomorrow I'm going to hit 3 or 4 stores in Dalston and Hackney. I was thinking about going to Brighton. Let's see if that happens. If not, you'll see me at the next jazz record store walk. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.